Have you ever wondered that the best fertilizers aren't found in stores, but right in your own home? When and what you throw away every day can actually become a real superfood for your plants. And then in this video, you'll learn about 6 natural fertilizers that you can make at home, easily, quickly, and almost for free. So you'll definitely be surprised to find out what can be used for feeding your plants, besides banana peels. Now, a little bit about why this is so important. And plants, just like people, need nutrients. But chemical fertilizers, while effective, often harm the soil and its microflora. That's where natural, homemade fertilizers come in. Eco-friendly, affordable, and sometimes even fragrant. Our grandmothers definitely knew how to turn food waste into fertile soil, just like the rich black earth. It's time for us to remember these tricks too. Banana peel, a fertilizer for flowering plants. Let's start with something seemingly simple, the banana peel. You've eaten a banana, and what next? Most likely, the peel ends up in the trash. But you know what? That's almost a crime. Against your garden. Banana peels are a natural source of potassium, magnesium, and phosphorus. These elements are key for flowering and fruit development, especially potassium. It helps plants bloom brightly and for longer. Want your orchid to send out a flower stalk, or your rose to bloom like in a postcard? Try feeding them a banana peel infusion. Simply cut up the peel, pour warm water over it, let it steep for a couple of days, and it's ready. Water your plants once a week with it, and wait for the magic. And yes, if you don't want to bother with steeping, you can just bury pieces of peel directly in the soil near the roots. But don't leave the peel on the surface. It attracts insects, and you don't want a fly party in your flowers, do you? It's natural, simple, and effective. A little secret our grandmothers knew, and one you definitely won't forget now. Eggshell. Calcium for strong roots. The next superhero in the world of homemade fertilizers is ordinary eggshells. Yes, the very ones you crack open in the morning when making yourself an omelette. Instead of throwing them away, save them. Because eggshells are almost 90% calcium. And calcium is not just the bone vitamin for humans. Plants need it too. It strengthens the root system, helps new shoots form, and makes tomatoes less susceptible to rot. So if you grow tomatoes, peppers, or eggplants, this is a must-have. Moreover, eggshells don't just provide nutrients, but also act as a pH regulator. They reduce soil acidity. Here's how to use them. Crush or grind the shells in a blender. You can even use a coffee grinder. The finer the better. The faster the calcium will be absorbed. Then simply add them to the soil when planting or around the stem. You can also add them to your compost. They won't go to waste there either. And a handy tip, dried and ground eggshells can be stored in a jar all season long. This way, they won't spoil and will always be at hand. So next time you're washing the dishes after your scrambled eggs, remember, not everything on that plate is gone for good. Part of it can very well become the future of your harvest. Coffee grounds, a favourite treat for acid-loving plants. Now here's a little boost for your plants. If you drink coffee, you're already creating a great fertilizer. Every day, coffee grounds are a real treasure for acid-loving plants. They contain nitrogen, potassium, magnesium, and a few other useful trace elements. Plus, they slightly acidify the soil, which such beauties as blueberries, hydrangeas, azaleas, and rhododendrons absolutely love. They feel right at home when it's a bit acidic. How to use it. After brewing your coffee, don't throw away the grounds. Let them cool completely and dry out a little. Then simply sprinkle a thin layer around your plants or mix it into the top layer of soil. But an important note, don't overdo it. If you add too much, the grounds can compact and reduce oxygen supply to the roots. So, a little at a time, but regularly. That's your key to success. And be sure to use only clean grounds, without sugar, milk, or other additives. Also, if you like, you can mix the grounds with compost and get an amazing blend. And yes, sounds like your plants have become coffee lovers, right? Only unlike us, they don't get insomnia from it, just vigorous growth. Vegetable broth, liquid vitamins for your greens. Here's a little life hack that not many people know about. Next time you boil potatoes, broccoli, or carrots, don't throw away the water. You've just made liquid fertilizer with your own hands. No joke. Vegetable broth is a super simple way to return a lot of microelements to the soil that leached out of the vegetables during boiling. Potassium, phosphorus, magnesium, and a bit of vitamins all remain in the water. It's suitable for almost all crops, especially for greens. Parsley, dill, basil, lettuce. They absolutely love this kind of feed. How to use? Just let the broth cool down to room temperature. Make sure there's no salt or spices in it. Otherwise, instead of fertilizer, you'll end up with a root killer soup. That's it. Water your plants like you would with regular water, once a week, or as needed. You can even store this broth in the fridge for a couple of days if you don't manage to use it right away. So, what happens is, you boil your veggies and feed both yourself and your green friends. Practical, eco-friendly, and chemical-free. Wood ash, phosphorus, and potassium from your stove. If you have a stove, fireplace, grill, or you've just been burning branches at your summer house, don't rush to scatter the ash around your garden. Just like that. It's not trash, it's gold, almost literally. Wood ash is one of the best natural sources of potassium and phosphorus, and it also contains calcium, magnesium, and even a bit of zinc. What's more, all these nutrients are in forms that plants absorb well. This is especially beneficial for flowering plants, fruit bushes, and trees. For example, roses treated with wood ash bloom as if you've transplanted them into an Instagram-worthy greenhouse. How to use it? The simplest method is to sprinkle the ash over the soil surface, gently mix it into the top layer, and water it. You can also make an ash tea. Dissolve a couple of tablespoons of ash in a litre of water, let it steep for a day, then water your plants with it. The main rule: use only clean ash. That means no charcoal, plastic, painted paper, or food scraps. Only ash from natural wood. And don't overdo it. Ash makes the soil more alkaline. For acidic soils, perfect. For neutral soils, moderate use. But for acid-loving plants, like blueberries, ash is a no-go. Sounds strict, right? But if used wisely, it's simply a magical boost for your plants. Onion peels, a vitamin-rich tonic, a natural insecticide, and finally, a hero that almost always ends up in the trash bin, but can actually become a real treasure for your garden. That's onion peels. At first glance, just waste. In reality, a powerful mix of trace elements, vitamins, and even natural antiseptics. They not only nourish plants, but also protect them from diseases and pests. Onion peels contain iron, calcium, potassium, phosphorus, everything needed for healthy growth. Plus, they repel aphids, fungi, and even some nematodes, like a shield and sword combined in one package. How to use? Infusion. Pour a handful of dry peels with 1 litre of hot water and let it steep for 24 hours. Strain it, then water or spray your plants. You can also add peels to planting holes, especially for tomatoes and peppers. The infusion smell is, well, distinctive. But plants don't mind it. The pests, on the other hand, scatter. And if you ever thought that only what looks nice is useful, here's an example. Looks like trash, but truly a super fertilizer and natural protector. So next time you peel onions, just save the peels in a jar. Let them work for a great harvest. Here is the English translation of your text. And now, attention. The most amazing thing isn't what these fertilizers are made from. It's how quickly plants respond to them. Sometimes just one feeding is enough to turn a weak bush into a lush beauty. And all this without extra costs, without chemicals, and without any complications. You literally turn waste into a harvest. Isn't that magic? With a scientific explanation. Here are 6 simple yet powerful natural fertilizers. They are all accessible, easy to understand, and effective. Thank you for watching till the end. If you found the video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. And in the comments, write, have you already tried any of these? Or maybe you have your own secret feeding recipe. If you want, I can also help you polish it or adapt it for a specific audience.